Namaste. My name is Della Giovanna. I'm a blogger. I write for fulltimeexplorer.com. I'm from America. So when I first came to Nepal, I had no idea what it would be like. I didn't know anything about it. And when I got here, I was welcomed immediately by locals, from the first cab driver who took me to Tamil to, every single person I met, just with a huge warm smile. And it made me love the country so much. And then I got to see the beauty of it as well, which is breathtaking and beautiful. And so from the people to the views, it's just one of the most incredible places I've ever been. This is my second time in Nepal. My first time I came here in October and November of 2017, and this time I've been here 4.5 months. The things that I really love about Nepal are trekking. It's the first place I ever did a real long-term trek. I love being in the mountains. It's, for me, a meditative experience. Just walking for hours, as exhausting as it is and as tiring as it is, I could do it just for days or months. Yeah, I love being out in nature. I love seeing the mountains, seeing what it feels like when you're put in really uncomfortable positions and you're tired and you want to give up and you still push through to see how far you can go. So one of the things that I love the most here about the culture is that there's so many different types. Every time I make a new friend, I learn about another type of tradition, a different type of food. For instance, one of my friends is Newari, so I've just learned recently about Newari foods and the customs and the festivals, and then you can go to another area and learn a totally different culture and totally different backgrounds, and you're in the mountains and you learn about Sherpas, and it's just amazing how no matter where you are in the country, there's always something different to see and to learn, and different languages, and I don't know, you can't get bored here. There's always something new and exciting, and people are so happy to share their culture with you, which is amazing because you get to experience so much more. So I traveled to Nepal by myself. I'm a solo traveler, and I've seen so many places in Nepal. I've been to Lumbini, which is the birthplace of Buddha, and Chitwan National Park, which is famous for rhinos. I went to Pokhara. There's a beautiful lake. It's the most relaxing place I've ever been. And then in the mountains, there's the Annapurna Circuit and Everest Base Camp and Mira Peak. And of course Kathmandu and Kathmandu Valley, which has so much to offer. A lot of people say that you can just spend a day here, but I've spent weeks here and I still find something new to do every single day. And Bokitashi, I went bungee jumping. Yeah, so all over. I can't wait to see more of it too. So the other countries I visited are mostly around Southeast Asia. I've been to Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Myanmar, India, Thailand, Indonesia, a few parts of Europe like Spain and Germany and France. I love traveling. I love seeing different cultures and just seeing how different people live in different parts of the world and what their experience is. It's really eye-opening to see how people in so many different countries can be so different and so similar at the same time. So I'm not just saying this because I'm here, but Nepal is actually my favorite country I've been to. I've only been to a few countries 2 times, and Nepal is one of the ones I've chosen to come back to, and not just to visit for a week. I chose to come here for 5 months, and I'm already planning to come back in January next year. So it really is my favorite place. So when I'm back in the US, I'm a travel writer, so usually I spend that time with my family because it's the time that I get to be back home and see them. So yeah, my hobbies are things like photography and just hanging out with friends, going to the movies, doing normal things, because when I'm traveling I'm sort of always on the run and always doing kind of crazy stuff. When I'm in countries like Nepal, I might be trekking for 30 days and not have internet, so just doing simple things back home like being on my computer is nice, as silly as that sounds. So there's a lot of differences between America and Nepal. I think one of the things people notice first is probably the infrastructure. In the US, everything's kind of spick and span, and we have like perfectly paved roads and not as much pollution. So in that sense, that part of Nepal is sort of different. But on the other hand, the people here are so much warmer and kinder and open, whereas in the US people don't generally talk to strangers or just like welcome people into their homes, and here you can meet someone and become family within an hour, which is incredible. Something I think would make tourism easier here is having things just run a little bit smoother. For instance, I think it's somewhat out of people's control, but if you ask someone how long a bus ride is to Pokhara, the answer is 6 to 12 hours, which I kind of think is funny, and I've gotten used to it. But I think people coming for the first time are shocked if they're expecting a 6-hour car ride and then it takes 12 hours. So I think some of the problems are obviously difficult because there's landslides and things like this here, but having schedules that are actually stuck to and better roads and these simple things that are so complicated to actually make happen are ways that would improve the tourist experience. But then it's also kind of part of the adventure to be stuck in a bus for 12 hours on your way to Pokhara, because there's always a good story in it. So I think one of the things that I see that could probably be the most helpful is just having information that's easy to get a hold of. For instance, at least from a tourist aspect, sometimes it's difficult to figure out where you have to go to do something, to get somewhere, and a lot of that is limited online. So if I try to search for how to get to a certain place, it might be really difficult. And then a lot of parts of Nepal are so beautiful, but because they're not as touristic, it's hard to figure out how to get there or find a company that will take you there, or knowing the right permits you need to go to that area, or all of this information really is what would make life easier for me as a tourist here, is just knowing how to get from point A to point B and being able to see more options than just the basic places that everyone goes, because the country's so big and so beautiful and there's so much out there, and I feel like a lot of it's unexplored, at least in the tourism aspect. So having that information available and easy to find and knowing where to go to get it is just would be so helpful. So having a blog, some of the things that I've really gotten to experience that are cool is just talking to individuals and hearing about their everyday life. So I've spent some time talking to some women about women's rights and kind of the rise of feminism here, which is really cool to see. And then also talking to my friend who's a Tanka painter and learning the history behind tanka, and not just seeing what's sold on the streets of Tamil, but learning the meaning of each god and the colors and the art form behind it, and talking to a Swami about Reiki, and just really interesting stories about how just normal people here live their everyday life, and the little things that sometimes you don't get to see as a tourist who's spending 2 weeks here. As a blogger, I get to go a little bit deeper, and I get to talk to people and find out the background of everything, which is really cool. So the most memorable part of my trip was I was trekking on the way to Mira Peak, which is a small peak in the Everest region. It's almost 6,500 meters, and I was on my way to High Camp, which is located at 5,800 meters, and just every single step took all of my motivation, all of my power, all of my determination, and it was snowing and freezing and you couldn't see anything. And then in the morning we woke up and the snowstorm had passed, and I had no idea what the area I was in looked like. And so to wake up to a clear sky and to see the whole Everest region just light up in the morning, not knowing where I was going to wake up or how it was going to look, was insanely unbelievable. I was so mad it was snowing the day before, but then to be surprised at the view, having not seen anything for hours, was, I'll never forget that. So I'd like to thank everyone in Nepal for making me feel so at home here. I feel honored to have been able to spend so much time in this country. Special thanks to Golden Nepal and media, and also my friends at Gymkhana Muay Thai and Swota. Okay, namaste, swagatam, danyabat, monlai tapaigo de sare mamporio. I don't know, Tepala Kastocha, Sanche, Tikcha, Dere Ramro. I don't know. I feel so nervous on the spot.